Francisco, it's Rex Broadcasting Wrestling Observer with Dave Meltzer and Bryan Alvarez.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Let's get it on!
How's it going, everybody? This is Dave Meltzer. We're going to be here for the next 2 hours talking pro wrestling. We've got Bryan Alvarez, of course, of Figure 4 Weekly with us, and we'll be commenting on the TNA pay-per-view, which is has just started, although the first match is not in the ring yet. They just did a bunch of skits, which I didn't pay close attention to, but that's what we've got. We got a tag team championship match coming up as the first match, so that would be BG James and Ron Killings defending the title against Eric Young and Bobby Roode of Team Canada. So anyway, that's basically what's going on. We've got every line lit up, so we'll be talking about all of the current wrestling news. You can call us at 1-800-878-PLAY, but you're going to have to wait until somebody hangs up. Bryan, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's good. How's the week?
Not too bad.
That's good. That's good. Kind of interesting week. I guess the big news for the week, without question, is that Paul Heyman was once again demoted from the WCW SmackDown writing team. It's kind of
WCW.
What?
Did you say WCW?
I said that on purpose, but I meant WWE, of course.
Just checking, because that could have very easily been just a Freudian slip.
Yeah, well, it could have been. But anyway, no, I mean it's because it is. But
yeah.
And you just wrote the book. Well, by the way, when's the book coming out?
Well, funny story. I was actually supposed to get a copy of the book on Friday via courier, and it didn't arrive. So
that's okay. There's plenty of things that I'm waiting for by courier that haven't arrived of late as well.
Well, there you go.
So,
but it should be on shelves this week or next, preferably this week, of course. But we'll see.
And are you working on the WWE book?
I think we've both been working on it for years.
Yeah. As far as this week goes, it was kind of an interesting Raw show, and a good Raw show for the most part. They had spent all week advertising the Battle Royal, and the winner would become the champion, and obviously at some point in the last couple of days before the match, Vince decided it was a bad idea, so he came out and said, it's a bad idea. And we ended up, I think the thing that interests me the most about Monday's Raw show is that they went off the air and you didn't have a champion because it was Chris Benoit and Edge, and they did a finish where Chris Benoit had the crossface on Edge, rolled to his back, and theoretically, as the referee counted 3 on Benoit's shoulders, which is that horrible New Japan finish, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And Edge tapped at the same time, and so you got that cliffhanger ending. And since that time, it's almost been a week, and I haven't. Not only on their own website, I don't think they've even written about it like it was some big story, which at least they should have on their own website. But nobody is it doesn't seem like anyone really cares about the championship at all.
I think no one cares because I think most people know that nothing's going to happen with this, that it's going to go back to Hunter and it'll just be an easy way to get number 10. And, I mean, it was just like, I heard one person that was upset that there was a cliffhanger ending. And I didn't even understand that because it's not like it's on a pay-per-view. It was a free TV show, and I think everyone else thought the same way, where there's nothing to get outraged about. It's a free show. Nothing's going to happen with it, and it's nothing to really care about.
Well, I mean, I wasn't upset in the slightest about, the cliffhanger ending on a free TV show, but I think that what was strange was just that, within the company it wasn't even treated as a big deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to go head to a break right now. We'll be back with more right after this. We'll talk a little bit about SmackDown as well. You're listening to the Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Radio Network. Okay, welcome back to Wrestling Observer Live. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter, with Bryan Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. And, of course, we're here every Sunday night, 8 to 10 Eastern, 5 to 7 Pacific Time, talking pro wrestling. We've got a bunch of topics to talk about, as well as full phone lines, get into various different subjects. But I guess, Bryan, any thoughts as far as Paul Heyman's demotion?
I don't know. It's like the first time he was demoted, I was shocked. And now I guess I was shocked, but in a way I'm really not, because there's just nothing left to shock me, really.
I can't say that
if I'd been told that he had taken over complete control and Vince had handed it over to him, I would have been shocked.
Oh, I'd have been shocked about that, too.
It did not shock me. Well,
I wasn't surprised, only because, it almost, I always felt when he came back that it was inevitable that the same thing that led to his demise the first time was going to happen exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And I don't know all the details, but I would be willing to bet that it was pretty similar reasons.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing. And he is still with the company. He is still talent. He managed today in Madison Square Garden with John Heidenreich, so he'll be on TV on the Tuesday taping from Greenville. But no more creative, which is probably for the worst. In fact, I would say almost surely for the worst.
Yeah. He didn't have a ton of input or anything like that, but any input is better than the goose that they've mainly got.
Well, it's not so much. Again, it's not the writers. It's as much as they're writing to appease Vince, and that's what you get. Like, look at Tuesday's Tough Enough.
Yeah, but you can write to appease Vince, and things can be better than they are now. I mean, there have been people writing to appease Vince since day one, and some of the stuff, I can kind of excuse Raw because I know that Hunter's in charge, and it makes no sense, but it makes sense if you're Hunter. But some of the stuff on SmackDown, I can understand appeasing Vince and everything, but there's also, the shows don't have to be the way that they are often.
I don't know.
But I do agree that as a writer, they've got very little power.
Yeah. I mean, when Vince is in love with John Bradshaw Layfield, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you are handcuffed.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Next Sunday will be the SmackDown.
But hold on, let me go back to that real quick.
Yes?
Okay. Obviously he loves John Bradshaw Layfield, so they are handcuffed.
Yes.
But there are also guys on the show that Vince really doesn't care about. And if you're going to write things about the people that Vince doesn't care about, you would think that some of it would be better than what it is.
Yeah, okay, but now here's your other problem now. You've got a right to get a million women who are all interchangeable and the same, all on TV every week.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, what did you think of that segment with Melina Perez and the negligee thing? 'Cause I thought that was, for what it was supposed to be, I thought it couldn't have been worsely executed.
It was, I was just mostly upset because I cursed Vince when it was announced that she had been signed to Raw. Because to me, there were parts of Raw Monday that were almost like a wrestling parody show. Like they were trying to do a parody of WCW at the end.
I don't think they were that. I don't think that was the goal.
No, it wasn't, of course, but that's what it seemed like to me because it was like, how can you keep adding faceless women to this show and not have even the slightest clue what it is that you're doing? The more women you add, the less any of them get over. I mean, it's so elementary, and they keep adding more. And like every week when you think you've seen the last new woman, there's another new one.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. Who was the new one? The Hunters, or the whatever it was? She was the new...
Melina Perez, Candice Mitchell.
Candice! Where did Candice come from?
She actually been on the show and sitting there doing nothing for about 2 weeks, actually.
Oh.
Or maybe a week
Well, I'm
before.
glad I just now recognized her.
Yeah.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
Is she the makeup girl? Is that her role now?
Oh, yeah, the makeup girl, that's it.
She's the makeup girl, and Melina actually has no role. She's just a diva at large, right?
Sure, she's just the generic diva that they had to call up to split up a great team in Ohio Valley to make me mad.
God. I knew that it was trouble when on the last Ohio Valley show, and I don't know if you've seen it, but they announced, I think it's Seth Skyfire and Mac Johnson against, Nitro and Joey Matthews. And Jim Cornette announced that Melina had been barred from the Davis Arena that night. And
I saw that one.
Okay, see, that was when I realized that it's like, wow, they actually, not only did they call her up, but they actually knew they were going to like 2 weeks before they did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And hey, I got to ask you a question about Ohio Valley.
Okay.
What's going to happen to Chad?
Chad's the OVW champion.
Is he?
He won the title Wednesday night.
Okay, that proves there's a God. I was very...
Oh, my God, Chad?
I was demoralized to think that Chad might be leaving Ohio Valley. I think that...
He should be. When I saw that...
No, he shouldn't, because then he wouldn't be any fun anymore.
Oh, I know. No, Chad is like frickin' like... Chad is like the greatest character in the world.
He is, and I think that we should Jim Cornette's not on the show today, so this is not a plug to make Jim Cornette happy. But anybody who's listening to this show that hates wrestling right now and is upset with WWE and everything, you have to subscribe to the Ohio Valley tapes.
Oh, I know. The last 2 weeks have been really good.
Yes.
It usually is anyway, but the last show I saw, which would have been the week before Thanksgiving, because they took Thanksgiving off, that show, I mean, besides the booking, I mean, the characters are all gelling. Like, about a month ago I was going like, man, there's not really a lot of talent here, and now I think they're just loaded with talent.
Oh, yeah, and they make the most out of every single solitary person.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot imagine anybody doing anything better with Chad.
By the way, real quick, Team Canada just won the tag team titles when Johnny Devine interfered.
Oh, there you go.
In the match. So anyway, that's the story there. So, well, we'll see. The next match is not in the ring yet. So that was the opener on the show. Anyway, go ahead with OVW.
I was just talking about how, you have a guy like Chad, and I can't imagine anybody making better use of this person. I just can't fathom it.
Yeah.
Phenomenal characters.
Yeah.
And even characters that aren't supposed to be characters like Dean Hill are entertaining.
Well, Dean Hill, you have to watch him for like months before you kind of get the comedy of Dean Hill.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, at the beginning I just thought Dean Hill was just, caller, there's Dean Hill.
Yeah.
Until, like all the little things that you start noticing with him.
Yeah.
But the women there, they've got like 1 million women in training camp now there too, I heard.
Yeah. And thankfully we don't see them all on TV at the same time.
Notice that. Well, we almost did. Remember when they did that Halloween deal?
That didn't really count though, because that's like one of the things WWE does on a holiday where they just do a show that doesn't really count. I didn't really count that.
Actually, that Halloween thing was probably as bad as the lingerie thing.
No, because at least I was entertained by the Halloween one because there was such great comedy on there between Dean Hill and Jim Cornette and stealing the money and the girls calling each other names, whereas the thing on Raw was just, the girls came out and they all stripped, and then that was the end. Yeah.
I think it looks like the next match is going to be Sanjay Dutt and Hector Garza and Sonny Siaki, which is quite a mixed match team against Kid Cash, Frankie Kazarian, and Michael Shane, which hopefully that'll be a really good match. What's your thoughts on the first shoot match on a WWE pay-per-view since the famous Bart Gunn Butterbean match, which will be coming up next Sunday?
Well, when they announced on SmackDown that the guys were going to have a match, and then they announced it would be a regulation boxing match, and Mike the Miz jumped up and down, clapping and smiling, I thought, you are dead.
Oh, I think that he was
I don't think he knew what he was getting into.
I have to believe that when the cameras were off and he was in his room and he went to bed, he was praying to God to get cut. Don't you think?
Well, if he got cut, he'd just go to Ohio Valley. He wouldn't have to be killed.
Oh no, yeah, but either way, it's like his $1 million just went out the window.
Yeah, that's true.
It was just like, oh my God. Somebody, break both of their legs. Please have both of them break their legs in training this week.
I don't know whose idea it was to, well, obviously it was Vince's, but,
you think it was Vince's idea?
I think so. I was trying to think who else's idea it might be.
Kevin Dunn? Well, they wanted to do that boxing match for the women in Seattle, right? Or wherever it was.
That's right, and it was...
And they weren't allowed to because they screwed up, the commission stuff. So I think in this case, they planned in advance, and they got to do it.
I want to know whose idea the female boxing match was, because I cannot think of any match on the planet I would like to see less.
Well, luckily you didn't get to see it, but what they did show was still pretty horrible.
Yeah.
Let me see what else. Oh, Sakuraba Silva. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm terrified for Sakuraba. And actually, some fighters would look at a match with Sakuraba if they were as good a fighter as Silva and not train and go in there and there could be an upset. But I don't think Silva has ever taken anyone lightly in his entire life.
Did you ever remember, I'll tell you, the one match where he looked sluggish was against Otsuka.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think that he will take it lightly, if only because... he's been in there 3 times with him, and the first time was real quick. But the second and third time, he knew he was in there with a real guy, even though he beat the guy both times.
Yeah.
So, I think he knows what he needs to do. Silva. I just find it so hilarious, people who think that, Silva's unproven.
He's no good.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to go ahead to a break, and we'll start taking phone calls right after this man tag that I told you about is just getting into the ring. You're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Radio Network. Hey, welcome back to Newsletter with Bryan Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly, and I just watched Hector Garza try to do a monkey flip. He slipped off of, I think it was Michael Shane, and landed on his head, and he didn't plan to do that. Aside from that, it's this six-man tag that we were talking about, which is Sonny Siaki, Hector Garza, and Sanjay Dutt against Michael Shane, Frank Kazarian, Kid Cash, has been, if nothing else, a very fast-paced match. So anyway, that's what's going on there, which is to no surprise, really. We're going to start with phone calls now. You can call us at 1-800-878-PLAY. You can call about any subject when it comes to pro wrestling, or for that matter, mixed martial arts. You can join in as soon as we hang up with one of these calls, and we're going to start with Alan in Deerfield Beach, Florida. Alan, what's going on?
Dave, how's it going?
It's going good.
We're talking about the disputed finish from Monday night. Is it certain?
Oh my God, someone cares. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Triple H is going to get the belt back. It's certain.
As far as this Monday, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to resolve it. No.
Oh, you don't know?
I mean, as far as will Triple H get the belt back at some point, in the next couple of months, if not this week, that's certain. Yeah.
Right. And you got Terry Funk's book already, right?
No, it's not going to be out for several months. But I've got to proofread it, so I've probably read, I would say 80% of it, because there was a lot more. There were several more chapters that were written after the last time I saw it. So I've seen most of it. It's excellent.
It's excellent. When's it coming out?
I think March.
Okay. And he talks about any rivalries with any guys or no?
As far as, what do you mean by that? Like, he talks about Lawler and Dusty Rhodes and, that stuff. But I mean, as far as, he's not strong on, disliking a lot of people in the book. It's not like Flair where, there were a couple people he took shots at. I mean, this was, he mentioned, people who screwed up and were stupid and stuff. I think that he probably talked about that, but, and all the problems in WCW.
And like Dusty Rhodes' best friend, because somebody told me that, or...
He doesn't treat Dusty Rhodes like he's his best friend or his worst enemy in the book.
Okay, but you think he's not being forthright, or what?
Oh, I thought so. I thought he was. I don't think he was going out of his way. He's basically a nice guy. I don't think he was going out of his way to bury anybody. But
right.
I thought it was pretty darn honest book.
Did Dusty and him really have problems, or you don't know?
Well, anyone that works together, as long as guys like that have big egos and everything, you're going to have minor problems. But I never heard of them having major problems. And I think Dusty had to love him because it's like, my God, those were some of Dusty's best matches, and Terry Funk was just when he was in the 70s, people see him from the 90s, and he was a good worker in his own way in the 90s, but he was absolutely fantastic in his heyday.
Right. I got one more question pertaining to tributes to and the obituary on Wahoo McDaniel, and is there something in there about McDaniel and Tully Blanchard never getting along?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, from San Antonio. I don't think anyone in San Antonio got along with Tully Blanchard when he was down there. He was
when he came to the NWA, they must have patched up, right? Or
yeah, I would think to a degree because they weren't. Tully wasn't the boss. When Tully was booking and everything, I don't remember. There were a lot of people who didn't like Tully Blanchard, which is one of the reasons why he was really a good heel and a terrible babyface, because he was just. It was very easily not to like him, and it was not very easy to like him.
What wrestler are you talking about?
I'm talking about anyone. I mean, that was him. Right. The Tully Blanchard you saw on TV, that was Tully Blanchard.
Really?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's why he was so good at it.
He didn't have to act too much.
No, not at all. Not at all. That was just what he was. I mean, he was just that kind of a guy, and really, which made it to be, he was a great heel.
But he's turned his life around and everything, and...
Yeah.
Right. Because I saw him and Dusty at a reunion or stuff, so I mean, I don't know if they've always got along or if they've had problems, whatever, but...
It's like a high school reunion now when you see those guys from 15 years ago that used to work with, and I think that, I think
what
both
are you
of them
saying
are
here?
proud.
Hold on a minute.
I think both of them are proud of what they did with each other now.
Right, but they did have something before?
Oh, I don't think it was too bad, because Dusty must have loved Tully Blanchard because he worked with him so many times, and Tully Blanchard, I mean... For Dusty Rhodes, if you think about this, as big as he was, because Dusty was probably a 300-pound guy, and Tully was, probably, 220, 225, and the heel, should be bigger than the baby face, you're not going to get that happen 100% of the time, but it sure makes it easier to work a match that way.
Sure.
And,
for
Dusty to work with such a small heel for so long, I mean, he must have loved
Really?
Tully Blanchard's working ability.
Well, his working ability, but I mean, because he was on, Tully did an interview, and I'll let you go at this. He was on Ted DiBiase's website, and he said that the relationship was not as strong outside the ring, that it was a love-hate relationship. I don't know if he was working or shooting.
Well, I will tell you this, as far as, in the late 80s, you got to remember when Dusty was booking in the late 80s and things were going down, and Crockett's promotion was about to go out of business, and everyone hated Dusty then because, it was just like, the thing was going down, and Dusty was the guy who was driving it down.
They were blaming him. I mean, even the front office and some of the boys, right?
Look at what David Crockett, he will even say that, that it was Dusty's booking. I mean, I lived through that era, and, there were a lot of reasons, and then Dusty's booking was not, that was one of the reasons, and maybe one of the biggest reasons that thing was going down. He kept the same, broken record, same guys on top for too long,
right?
Then kept turning them back and forth to where nobody cared about him. There you go. You go from, in 2 years from being a very, very successful company to being a company that's about to go out of business.
You think Hogan?
We've seen that repeated time and time again since then.
You think Hogan's coming into TNA tonight, or
no? I don't think so. You
haven't heard anything.
No, I haven't heard anything from TNA in a couple of days. But I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure that they want him to, though.
I heard a rumor that he might be there right now.
He might be. He was there the last time he showed up the day of the show. But
what's Savage gonna do?
I don't know. Maybe no show. No, but I just can't see Hogan jumping on board this one.
Right.
If they put him on without a contract, which I'm sure they would love to do, I'm sure, maybe Hogan's doing that because he thinks it's the quickest way to Vince. You know how that goes. I mean, he's played that game before, too.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, Alan?
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to James in Tallahassee. James, what's going on?
Dave, how are you guys doing?
Doing really good.
Good. Just wanted your thoughts on one thing first, the Lawler-Flair match on Raw. Just wanted to get your thoughts on the supposed Legends match, which they are legends,
I thought that for some reason when Flair worked with Lawler, the way they worked that match, it really made Flair seem much older than when he works for the young guys and has a better match. It seemed like two old guys wrestling. It really did.
You what?
What? Lawler-Flair on Monday on Raw.
What did you say, though?
I said it came across to me like two old guys wrestling.
Well, it was two old guys wrestling.
Yeah.
I think the thing was, like, Lawler, he's not full-time, and, I think Flair had to slow down, basically.
There was one spot, though, I love when Lawler had Flair in the corner and started throwing all these quick punches. It was like this flash of the Jerry Lawler that I used to watch 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But the rest of the match wasn't that Jerry Lawler. It was.
I sort of cringed with the backdrop a couple.
Oh my God! Yeah. I don't know Brian. What happened on that backdrop?
I think that was Lawler just not hoisting him hard enough.
Yeah, it was. I always worry when Rick goes up. That this time he's not getting up after he falls down.
Yeah.
But he always does. But boy, I always worry. And that one I was worrying a lot more than usual.
I enjoyed that match though.
Did you? It was okay. I don't know.
No, it was a treat to get to watch him, though.
Real quick, Hector Garza just pinned Frankie Kazarian with and he's limping on his right knee at the same time. Looks like he's hurt. So anyway, but that's what happened in that match. Okay, go ahead, James.
Okay, one last thing I wanted to ask you was something that when I was a kid, I'd always read the After magazines, in the early 90s, and one of the things that really just didn't get touched on that much but did get mainstream press was the whole sex scandal in the World Wrestling Federation, just with the various office employees and certain people involved. And I was just wondering your thoughts on that, because I always wanted to know a little bit more on what you're allowed to say about it or what's public knowledge.
I can say anything about it. Tom Cole, who was in the center of it, has been on our show a couple of times. I don't think there's any question that it happened. I think that there were. I have reason to believe that there were several people involved that were paid off, to shut up. One of the guys from Buffalo, was a kid who, went on a radio show, talked about it, and then all of a sudden had a very expensive car and was never heard from again. Things like that tell you something. But it was, Mel Phillips and Terry Garvin, especially Terry Garvin. I mean, Terry Garvin with Tom Cole, tried to seduce Tom Cole, and then when Tom Cole said no, he fired him, and that led to what happened. It was a very bad scene.
What about was Pat Patterson involved? Not necessarily with that, but I do remember the After magazines reporting that he was that he quit and then came back, or what had happened?
Yeah, what happened when the thing broke, Pat Patterson, Mel Phillips, and Terry Garvin all resigned. Vince basically told them to leave. Patterson was not implicated as strongly as the other two. Perhaps Patterson was an innocent victim. There are people who think that. I don't know, exactly. I mean, it's hard to exactly say with Patterson what. He was never really implicated other than in the settlement with Tom Cole. They verbally promised Tom Cole that those three guys would never work in the company again, including...
They did that, really?
No, but in the written settlement, Patterson's name was not in the settlement, but Mel Phillips and Terry Garvin, in the actual settlement, it was written in the settlement that they would never work in the company, and Patterson's name was not put in, even though they promised him it would be put in, and then, months later they brought Pat Patterson back.
Oh, good old settlement. That's what we were learning about in law school. That whole thing about what to put in your settlement, what to put in your contracts, what not to leave out of your contracts,
Yeah. Well, the big thing with WWE always is that when you negotiate with Vince, you come to these verbal agreements with Vince on what's going to be in the contract, and then when you get the piece of paper, it's like, wow, everything we talked about, it's not here.
Parole evidence. Oral evidence.
Yeah, anyway, we got to get running. Do you want to stick around after the break? Or get more?
Actually, I'll let you guys go free up for more calls.
Okay, good enough. Okay, you can call us at 1-800-878-PLAY, and we'll be back right after this. Looks like Petey Williams and Chris Sabin are going to be up next, which should be a good match. On TNA pay-per-view, you listen to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Radio Network. Okay, welcome back to Wrestling Observer Live. I'm Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter with Bryan Alvarez. We're going to start taking some more phone calls. But in the ring right now, it's Monty Brown against the Fist. So the Sabin-Williams match will be a little bit later in the show.
Is this the Serengeti Survival match?
This is the Serengeti Survival match with the thumbtacks, yes.
Is that the deal, thumbtacks?
I think it's pinfall, submission, or slamming into thumbtacks are the three possible finishes.
I think tigers or something.
What?
Some sort of Serengeti-type animal. Leopards?
I don't see any. Yet. Did you see the Monty Brown match with Jeff Jarrett from Friday?
Yeah, that was shockingly good.
Yeah, wasn't it, though? Yeah. That was Jeff's best match in a long time, and Monty Brown's best match of his entire life. We're going to go to Chris in Vancouver. Chris, you're next up. Hello.
He's done.
Is Chris gone? We'll go to Levy. Levy, are you there?
The update on the big wrestling weekend in New York.
Okay.
I went to both shows. ROH.
You went to the Garden today too?
Yes. Well, first of all, it was the second ROH show I've been to, so my response to the show may be a little bit different than others. I know a few people after the show were disappointed, but just straight judging it on entertainment and wrestling value, I thought it was a great show. I really enjoyed it. I have not seen either one of the CM Punk Joe matches before, especially the one you rated 5 stars. This one was a half hour. I was surprised because being that it was the culmination of the feud, that I thought it would last at least an hour, maybe even an hour and a half. They started out slow, a slow build, and then they really picked it up, very intense. It lasted about 31 minutes. And then Joe made him submit. I thought it was a great match. I haven't seen intensity like that for a wrestling title in a long time. It was, a really enjoyable show.
Mm-hmm.
And then
how was Bobby Heenan?
He was great. I was surprised he did so much stuff physically. He was doing all the old spots with hiding the chain for the tag team that he managed, and he came in and he whacked Cornette with a tennis racket, and he laid down on the mat to let Cornette try and elbow him, and then he rolled out of the way and jumped out of the ring. And Cornette did a great job of during their debate when they were both in the ring. First he was like, I respect you, and I think you're great, I think you're number one. And then he did it so fast, he transitioned into, I'm jealous of you and I'm sick of you being called number one, and he got really great heat for it. Like, true heat, the fans were booing him, and then they set up a tag match a little bit later in the show. Heenan was really great. I hope he's doing okay. I'm sure it's probably from running around too much, but I was on the bus trip, and he was scheduled to speak afterwards, but he canceled because he said he wasn't feeling so well, so I hope he's feeling much better today.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I went to the Garden show, and what was cool before I went in is they had the ROH guys outside handing out flyers, including Harry Sokin, the owner. And when he handed me a flyer, I said I was there, and he was very nice. He gave me a big handshake, and he was very happy that I went the day before. I hadn't been to a WWE house show in years. The last WWE show I was at was when Shawn Michaels won that six-way chamber match at the Garden. I think that was...
Oh, yeah, that was a couple years back. The first
2002 or 2001? I forgot which one that was.
No, that would have been 2002.
2002.
Right.
I wasn't expecting much at all. Actually, going to the show, I kind of, I have that outlook on the future of the WWE that people have on the show and newsletter people. But after going to the show, I have a little rosier outlook on things. I think the fan base has really changed. It's not about us. It was full of families and kids that were really having a great time. Well, I wouldn't say full.
But how many?
People. About 6,000. I was actually...
I don't know. That's because I was told it was the smallest Garden crowd in, except for, I think they'd won in 95, but it was the second smallest in the last, 45 years. I was actually at the show before Survivor Series 96, when the one in September before the November show. That was, I think it was just under 4,000. I think this one was a little bit fuller. What I did, I bought the cheapest seats and they moved us all down. So the only part that was full was before the 100s. So by moving everyone down, they pretty much filled up that bowl. Everything else was empty. So I would say it's probably between 4,500 and 6,500. I would really guess 6,000. The show was, the kids were into it, and being that SmackDown has a lot of, Hispanic wrestlers now, there was a nice mix of people there that were really, into Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, and there was no matches really to write home about, and Bradshaw came across better in person than I was really expecting. I mean, people really hate the guy, and it wasn't like go-away heat. It was really, really heel heat, and, it was okay. It was a fun show. I'm more of a fan now. I've been watching for 15 years. I'm more of a ROH fan. WWE isn't really for me right now, the product that they have, but, going, it really gave me the perspective on, who the target market is right now. Well, if you watch if you see, the problem is they're not hitting their target market, because if they were, to me, it's never been, and it's the same as Ring of Honor, it's never been, if you have 4,500 or 5,000 at the Garden and they have a good time, I mean, it's good that they had a good time, but if you were hitting your target market, there would be 15,000 at the Garden, 5,000 at the Garden. I mean, and it's always good to have a good show. I mean, every time that WWE has come here to do a house show, I have enjoyed every single show. But when I saw, whenever they come here and there's 3,000 people, I'm not saying it's a success, because it's not a success.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised that they had that many people in there. I was figuring house show, weaker brand, nothing show that they would really, really bomb it out. I think 6,000 was a pretty impressive number, if that's what it ends up being, compared to 4,500 in Philly and that sort of thing. But I don't think it'll make Vince McMahon panic. I think it kind of was the crowd number he was expecting. Business is down.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, thank you very much.
Okay, you're very welcome. Let's go to Bill in Chicago. Bill, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Dave.
What's going on?
A couple things. First of all, I don't know, did you happen to check out did you happen to see the behind-the-scenes recap that they were doing with the Blade, the new Blade movie that Hunter's in?
I saw what was on television, if that's what you mean, on SmackDown.
Yeah, did you notice there was a little, that was kind of cracking me up a little bit because of the Balco thing and everything, where he's posing, he's flexing his muscle right next to the other guy, the other actor.
Right, I remember that scene, yeah.
And I was thinking, these guys are the same size, but Hunter has 50 pounds on him.
Oh yeah, well, Hunter's a big dude.
Yeah, but well, maybe it was just the 2020 thing that was just I know you didn't really think that was a pretty good special.
I was very disappointed in the 2020 thing because I thought that the guy who was doing the interview either was naive or trying to make something more out of something that everyone already knew.
Right.
I mean, to go in there to say, I thought that it was pathetic. I mean, like, I'll put it this way. I don't have any doubt in my mind, and never have, that Barry Bonds used steroids and growth hormone for the last couple of years. Okay, no doubt whatsoever. To bring up Barry Bonds when you didn't have the evidence of him, and you have Victor Conte, going, well, I mean, it's he gave the drugs to Barry Bonds' trainer,
right?
And that's as far as he could go. He had no knowledge that Barry Bonds had ever taken it. To me, it's like, you're implicating a guy, and you really don't have the evidence other than the fact that his trainer, who didn't just train Barry Bonds but trained several other people,
right,
was distributing steroids. And we already knew that anyway because other people who the guy, Greg Anderson, I think was his name, but the trainer, the guy, that other people who he's trained with have already said that they've gotten steroids from him, so that's not a revelation of anything. And so I thought, like, by bringing Barry Bonds up without the evidence, I thought it kind of was cheap, and I thought that the interviewer, just the way he was doing it,
he's the same smarmy guy who did the Michael Jackson.
Right. I know. And again, but that's bad too.
Yeah.
They should have had a heavier hitter and someone who had a lot more knowledge of sports.
Right.
Interview and a lot more sophistication. I mean, it was just like, I thought Victor Conte was being pretty darn honest. I think that everyone kind of knows the level of steroid use not by percentage, but everyone knows that steroid use in whether it be football, baseball,
you really think
or track is prevalent. I don't think
I'm surprised that wrestling there's never been that microscope on wrestling at all,
No, and there never will be. I mean, because let's face it, if the deaths that we've had in wrestling were in track or in baseball, there would be a congressional investigation of the sport, and it would have happened. It would have happened like 8 years ago, or 7 years ago. So, wrestling will always fall beneath the radar because
it's like drug deaths with rock stars, I guess, right? Something like that.
Yeah,
it's part of the lifestyle.
I guess you could say that, but more because. In fact, there was where was it? I think it was on Neil Cavuto was the one on his show where they had a guest who's basically like they brought up the wrestling and with the steroids and everything, and it was like, well, wrestling's not a real sport, so somehow it doesn't count because since it's not a real sport. And it's like, yeah, I know, but it's the only one where you have a plethora of real deaths. I think maybe it should actually count more. But but that's the attitude. It's like since it's not a real sport, it doesn't somehow count.
Yeah.
You don't think that many people are aware of steroid use in mainstream sports?
Mainstream sports, I think they are now, yeah.
But I mean, look at how many even wrestling fans that are surrounded by, that know everything about wrestling, and they make these lists of guys that are and are not on steroids.
Okay. I think there's a naivete. Obviously, there is because I know where you're going, where there'll be lists of guys, and they go, this guy can't be on steroids, and you and I both know that the guy has been on steroids for 15 years.
Yeah.
Probably very little breaks. But I think that the idea that like the track stars and the baseball stars are doing steroids, I think that I can't imagine anybody would that's not wouldn't know that. Anything else, real quick?
No, that's it. Thanks for taking my call, Dave.
Okay, we'll be back right after this. You listen to the Wrestling Observer live on the Sports Byline Radio Network. Hey, welcome back to Wrestling Observer Live. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, with Bryan Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. And Bryan, I think that they just did the WWE footage. They had like a fake Vince McMahon, and then somebody hits like a videotape with a sledgehammer somehow, and it was pathetic.
Wait, there was a skit?
They were supposed to do the skit. They were supposed to show the footage, the real footage from Orlando when they did the Royal Rumble commercial, and
they did
instead they did a skit.
Oh.
A skit with a fake Vince McMahon.
Well, it's all over.
Because there was a back shot of somebody in a Vince McMahon suit with a Vince McMahon hairdo from looking about 8 years ago. Vince McMahon hairdo when he had the dark black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, Monty Brown beat Abyss with a like a sidewalk slam into thumbtacks. Biz took off of his shirt, and Biz should have left his shirt on.
He took his shirt off?
Yeah, and he looks really unathletic without a shirt on.
Wow.
So it was kind of like a silly move that they didn't think through. But I guess it makes it more real because the thumbtacks are probably sticking in his back now, and it probably hurts far worse.
There was a giant pad in that thin blue denim shirt.
What?
Did he feel there was a big pad in his shirt or something?
I don't know. But anyway, they're now cleaning up the ring from the thumbtacks because God knows we don't want anyone wrestling in a ring filled with those next.
No, of course not.
Especially doing high spots. So anyway, that's what's going on there as they're cleaning up the ring. We've got to head to... We've got our news break. We've got a full bank of calls. You can call us at 1-800-878-PLAY, and we're going to get to as many people as possible. Lots of people calling about old-time wrestling and current wrestling, and we'll also update you on how this pay-per-view is going. TNA show going from Orlando, Florida as we speak. You're listening to the Wrestling Observer live on the Sports Byline Radio Network.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of the Wrestling Observer with Dave Meltzer and Bryan Alvarez.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Let's get it on.
Okay, we're back here with Hour 2. I'm Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter with Bryan Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. We're here every Sunday night from 8 to 10 Eastern, 5 to 7 Pacific time. And right now in the ring at the TNA pay-per-view, it's Johnny B. Bad, Pat Kenny, and Jacqueline Moore. Actually, it's not Jacqueline. I should take that back. They changed it. It's Pat Kenny and Johnny B. Bad against Johnny Swinger and Glenn Gilberti, and Jacqueline Moore is the referee, so I don't know what happened to Trinity because they were originally scheduled for a 6-person tag, but that's the scoop. Jacqueline's wearing her that referee thingy that she used to wear when she was on Sunday Night Heat, I guess, or wherever it was when she was doing the referee thing in WWE and occasionally on Raw. So that's what's going on in the ring right now. Brian, anything else from your end?
No. Sounds very exciting. Why is Jackie only doing the pay-per-views?
I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't know why they're on the show. There was no angle to build this matchup.
Well, didn't they do that last time too?
Yes. I think but last time they did have they had a couple matches that they just threw on at the last minute to get people on the show. And this one, but they did for Jackie. They did have Trinity was supposed to have a surprise opponent.
Have they done any skits with Hall and Nash yet?
With the Elvises, yeah, they did that at the beginning of the show.
Anything new though? The Elvises, yeah.
Yeah, nothing new. Trinity, they haven't had Trinity around, and I don't know. Maybe I bet she must have missed it or something because you would think she would at least be in Gilberti and Swinger's corner.
Yeah,
and she's not even there.
What about Savage?
Savage has been doing. They had Savage doing promos.
Okay, well,
so he was wearing a long sleeve shirt.
So in other words, he's going to be the first. Well, I can't say he's the first, but he's going to wrestle in those long sleeve shirts.
I don't know that, but I've been led to believe that if he didn't gain a lot of muscle mass in the last 2 weeks, that he was going to have to.
Life can be sad when you're an old wrestler.
Being an old wrestler is not a happy thing. No, you've been around some of them.
I have.
Yeah, it's not a happy thing at all, especially when you still want to be like at the top level. It's one thing like when you're the Honky Tonk Man and you're doing the Honky Tonk Man level shows.
Yeah.
You can kind of just be the Honky Tonk Man forever.
Yeah.
But when you're like on TV and having to like be out there with the young guys, it's different.
Yeah.
The young guys with a lot of drugs. I don't mean just young guys. Because obviously Honky Tonk Man's out there with a bunch of young guys too, but they can't
don't have a lot of drugs.
What?
They don't have a lot of drugs.
Well, not those kind of drugs.
No.
They can't afford them.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, isn't it? I don't know.
Being a top wrestler can be expensive.
It is.
Especially when you're not making any money.
Yeah. Well, I remember in the old days, as an example of something different, is they used to say that it cost more money to win the Mr. Olympia than you would get when you won the Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, actually, I'd heard that.
Yeah, I don't think it's the case anymore, but
yeah,
I'll bet you though, like it costs more money to finish like 12th or something to win than you can make.
Isn't 12th place like $1,000?
I don't know. It might be.
You train your entire year. And God knows how much money you have to spend to look like that, and you make $1,000.
Oh, I mean, the thing is, I didn't see this year's thing, but I think I saw it 2 years ago, and there really wasn't any difference between the guy who finished like 15th and the guy who finished like 3rd.
Yeah.
You know, they all like look the same.
Yeah.
And they're all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw. So what was it? Somebody was saying something. You know, when they were talking about how this is on the thing the other night on the 2020 thing. Johnny B. Bad just pinned Glenn Gilberti, by the way. Anyway, we're going to go ahead to a break right now. We'll come back with more on that and phone calls. So anyway, we listen to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Radio Network. Hey, welcome back to Wrestling Observer Live. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter, with Bryan Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. Of course, we're here every Sunday night from 8 to 10. Eastern Time, 5 to 7 Pacific Time. If you're looking for the most up-to-date info on pro wrestling, you can go to www.wrestlingobserver.com, and there's all the latest news, updates, and TV reviews, and also information on how to get both Figure 4 Weekly that Bryan puts out every week, and the Wrestling Observer newsletter that I put out every week, which is the most detailed info you're going to find on pro wrestling anywhere. We're going to go to Chris.
Hey, I got a question real quick about a commercial we just aired.
Yes.
What is a professional thief?
Professional what?
A professional thief.
A professional thief is someone who's a thief. That's his profession.
I see. I get it. I was confused.
Oh, okay.
I thought there might be an amateur thief.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, just wondering.
Eric Watts is at ringside. Raven and DDP are about to wrestle, and we were actually going to talk about the thing. There was an interesting way of looking at this thing. Do you think that how would I say this? That it's a level. That sports at the top level are a level playing field because everyone is doing the drugs, or an unbalanced playing field because some are and some aren't?
I would say it's unbalanced because it's not just having access to the drugs, but it is knowing how to get the best results with the drugs.
But that okay. Now let's go take that one step further. But that's the same thing with training.
It is, sure.
Like part of being a top athlete is having the right coaching and getting the most out of your training.
Yeah.
I think that you need the connections and you need the money. But then again, that's always been
when you're at a low level, it's a game of who's the smartest in how they train naturally, and at the top level, it's who's the smartest in how to train with drugs.
Yeah.
And I think that's all it is. It's basically an IQ test all around.
Yeah.
With a little bit of natural talent thrown in.
Yeah. It's sad, but okay, there are no, it's not like there's any answers.
I don't think that there could possibly be an answer, because it's not going away. The only answer would be, okay, just allow everybody to do whatever they want to do.
Which is halfway with what the situation is now. I mean, it's like, you do what you want to do, but you have to be able to pass the test. So there's some drugs that you can take and some drugs that you can't.
Yeah.
So let's go to Chris in Vancouver.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going really good.
I had a couple questions. First off, with regards to the WWE contract with Spike TV, it's coming up.
What do you think? Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the USA chances? I heard they're revamping the network. They're going into
USA wants it. Spike wants to keep it. So Vince is probably going to be able to keep the money and maybe even get more money, even though the ratings are down from when they first got the contract. So I don't know who's going to get it. I think that if all things were equal, Vince would go to USA, because I think that it's very convenient for Vince to blame Spike TV for the lower ratings, even though that's not the case. But but it is better to be on a stronger station, and USA is a stronger station.
Right. Yeah, and I heard the FX network and TNT possibly are involved as well.
There's talks, but they're not interested really all that much. I mean, really the only ones that are, TNT's not really interested at all. FX, I didn't hear that they had tremendous interest. But USA definitely. I mean, it's very, everyone knows that they have a lot of interest. It's gonna. Most likely it'll come down to, unless somebody changes their mind because they got till, I don't know, they would probably be negotiating thing till the summer when the real deal ends up being made. It's probably going to come down to Spike, which won't let him, they're not going to let him go because Spike is like right now, usually between like around number 8 and number 10 in the primetime ratings. And you take the wrestling out of it, the Raw out of it, and they fall, probably to around number 25. That's a big drop. USA is usually in the top 3, and with wrestling, they might move from like 3 to 1. But it's more important for Spike to keep it. But Vince is in a good position. I mean, it's as far as there's when 2 people want your product as opposed to 1, you can get a whole lot more money that way.
I got a question about the ratings.
Yes.
All right. The ratings are there for ad dollars.
Yes.
Okay, so if one show skews the average so that all of a sudden your network is in the top 10, and without that one show on Monday nights for 2 hours, it would be way out of the top 10.
Way out.
People still buy ad time on programs other than this one that's skewing the average because of what the one show that skewed the average does to the whole network.
And they won't buy that specific show because they think that the people who watch that specific show
have no money.
Don't have any money, but they will buy the network on the other shows on the network because of the network average. Yes, that's all true, and isn't that amazing?
Just confirming that.
Yes, that's all true.
And I had one more question. It's regards Ludwig Borga. Do you remember him?
I know Ludwig Borga very well. I know him.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to him lately since he went in the insane asylum or wherever he is right now.
But I was talking to some friends, and I guess they read on the internet because they were talking at schools over on Friday, and they were saying that Vince actually had him penciled in to win the WWE title, and then he was.
I never heard that, and I don't believe that.
You don't believe that?
I don't believe that. I'm not saying 100% I would have known, but probably 95%. I had pretty good contacts in what was going on in those days. I don't buy that for a second.
What did he get in trouble for again?
The last time?
Yeah.
He had a gun and he went crazy and I just don't. He got in a fight with his wife. I vaguely
remember this.
What?
I vaguely remember this.
He got in a fight with his wife and I think he OD'd or something at the same time.
That's right.
I forget the whole story, but he went out of his mind basically.
So what ended up happening to him?
The last I heard, he was out of his mind.
I wonder if they sent him to Siberia. Do they still do that?
I don't know, but he was in the parliament, too. Nutty politician.
Yeah.
All right, and I hope you guys are looking forward to this WWE footage that's going to air on Turning Point.
The what?
I hope you didn't buy it for that footage.
No, I don't know what they're going to show. I think they might just show a skit, or I don't know what's going on.
I think it's just a skit. I think they already showed it.
No, that wasn't it, actually.
Oh, that's not the big one, huh?
No, that's not it.
Oh, they were teasing us.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was a D-Ray 3000 supposedly tape that they destroyed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, supposedly so. Do you think they're going to show it or no?
They're going to show something.
Yeah.
Stupid they are.
That's what they say they are.
Well, thanks for taking my call, guys.
How's the show so far?
It's all right. I mean,
that's good.
My brother wanted to watch it, so we ordered it, so.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for taking my call, and have a great night.
Okay, very welcome, Chris. Okay, we're going to go to Bobby in Bakersfield. Bobby, you there? Hello.
Bobby.
Bobby. Go to Bill in Long Island. You there?
Can you hear me, Dave?
I hear you.
Hey, what's up?
Not too much.
All right. I wanted to call you about the shoot fight that they're going to have on Armageddon.
Yes.
I just thought I'd throw in my 2 cents and ask for your opinion on it. I don't think it's as horrible of an idea as a lot of people are making it out to be. I know James Gutman of a Pro Wrestling Torch was saying everything else in comparison is going to look worse and fake on the show. I don't think they have much to lose doing this because it's not like Brawl for All where you have your top guys, losing and, looking bad. You have 2 unknowns. So I think the best that's going to happen is they get Pewter or someone and they make a star.
I think our concern is that he'll kill that person.
What?
I think our concern is that he'll kill that person.
Okay, this is my thought. If it was under submission wrestling rules, I mean, Peter would kill whoever it was by getting him to submission really quick. Okay. Yeah. I am a fan of boxing, but I temper that because I hate tough man contests. Boxing is very, very dangerous unless you know. Even when you know how to box, it's very dangerous and you get hurt and you get beat up. If you do not know how to box, boxing is a horrible sport. Okay, and Mike the Miz, to the best of my knowledge, does not know how to box. So I don't like the idea of him doing it for his health. And there's a reason that they, regulate this stuff. And granted, this is going to be regulated and everything. Mm-hmm. But, and I don't know, they might have, gigantic gloves to where you actually can't hurt the guy, and maybe it's not even a big deal. It'll just be a giant pillow fight. Yeah. It very well could be. I mean, they haven't said what, size of the gloves. I even have the
Well, they said a regulation boxing match, and I've never seen a regulation match with giant oversized gloves.
I don't believe it's going to be well, I don't know. I mean, it might be a regulation match, and it won't have oversized gloves. But you remember the gloves that Carmella and what's her name we're going to use?
Yeah,
Christina.
That's not unsafe. So if that's the case and it's just that, then whatever.
You really think they do that with Daniel Pewter and the Miz?
What?
You really think they do that with Pewter and the Miz?
What? Have a pillow fight?
Yeah.
I don't.
I think there's zero chance of that happening, to be honest with you.
I don't think
I can understand with two women, because who wants to see two women punching each other?
Well, especially because of here's the thing with the women is there's a major lawsuit. You got two women that are models, professional models, that when they signed up for this thing, they, part of it was not they were going to beat each other's brains, and if one of them got a broken nose or something, that could hurt their modeling career. Yeah. So there was a lawsuit waiting to happen, let alone they probably didn't do all the commission red tape. Well, I know they didn't. So that was one thing. This is different. Am I negative towards it? I'm negative towards if they do a regulation boxing match with a guy who's never fought before against a guy who has. I feel very sorry for the guy who's never fought before, and I don't like it. Even though I'll probably enjoy watching it, I don't think, as far as hurting the show, I don't think it's going to hurt the show at all. I don't know, Brian, what are your thoughts?
No, I don't think it's going to hurt the show, but I was just saying, I don't think that a guy that the fans are chanting UFC to, and they're not even really bothering to edit those cheers out anymore, you can't have them go in there and do a pillow fight.
Do a pillow fight?
No.
Well, we'll find out. I think they should have just done an MMA fight.
Sure, why not? That's safer.
What?
It's safer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's safer than a regulation boxing match.
Yeah.
So, and also the odds are, well, anyway, we're going to go ahead to a break, but the odds are that in an MMA fight that the guy will be submitted out and tapped without getting hurt as opposed to being, potentially knocked out badly.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to do a break right now. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Radio Network.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to Wrestling Observer Live. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter, with Bryan Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. By the way, you can join us. We've got a couple of lines available at 1-800-878-PLAY. And there's another skit going on with the fake Vince McMahon right now. But anyway, DDP just beat Raven. There were two masked guys, and they were about to interfere. And then Eric Watts gave both of them choke slams. And then guess what Eric Watts did?
He turned on DDP.
Yes, he did. However, DDP gave him a low blow and gave him a diamond cutter. And, Tracy is there with cookies for the fake Vince McMahon. Oh, that's very nice. Let's see what else. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. The cookies were just dropped on the floor.
Thank God Paige survived that match.
Yeah, he did. And there's somebody... who is this? They don't show the guy. Vince is berating this guy who looked a little bit like a young Steve Dahl. Anyway, that's a pretty... Whatever that was, it just happened.
Compelling series of...
Yeah, DDP beat Raven. And I'm not sure who's coming up next. But anyway, we're going to go to...
Oh, it's not the main event. Sorry.
What?
I forgot there was an hour and a half left.
Yeah. We're going to go to Mark in Waterbury, Connecticut. Mark, what's going on?
Gentlemen, how you guys doing? Happy holidays.
Thank you very much.
Good. Listen, I had a couple questions I'm going to throw it out at you, but I just want to add something about the, you talk about Bonds and the, all the problems with steroids. And, I've scouted collegiately and professionally in the past in baseball. And basically, Dave and Bryan, until a scout or a guy, bringing talent into a college program or signing a guy to, putting the guy's name in for the draft or signing him to a free agent contract, until they do a separate assessment, separate evaluations based on if you're on the gas or not, it really doesn't matter. until I have to grade a guy out, if this guy's, he does this, he does that. Oh, but he's on the juice, so he gets this and that, as he grades out into the future. I just think it's a moot point.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I'm saying is you're evaluating the player right now. Whether the guy is cycling or not, it doesn't matter. I mean, what is the guy doing now, and what is he going to do tomorrow? And if he's on the gas, great. That's just going to affect the scores. It's going to make him all the better for the most part.
Yeah, well, we know that.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying, my point being on that is that you're just going to have to say this is not. We're not going to sign a guy. Or we don't want to give a college scholarship to a guy who's on the gas. Period. And as long as a guy can help you win, it's not.
Of course, that's the nature. That's the nature of the game. And with all the money in Major League Baseball, and you're a marginal player, I think that it's foolish of the public to believe that if you are a marginal baseball player who the gas will make a difference between you playing in the minor leagues and the major leagues with the financial difference and the glory difference, that you will say, I am not going to take the juice because I am not going to be a cheater when you know that half the league is doing it already anyway.
And you have a hitting coach and you're in the low minors and you have a hitting coach, you're 175 pounds and a punching duty hitter, and the guy tells you got to get around in the ball, and the only way you can do it is if you're on the gas. I mean, it's just a tough thing. You're going to do it. Just like in professional wrestling, if you're an independent guy who actually aspires to go somewhere. Yep.
And you look at, I'll tell you what, Bryan, you saw this on Tuesday night. Did you see when this thing really hit me hard? Okay, was when Daniel Puder took his dress off. His Deborah McMichael dress off, and he was standing next to Bob Holly. Here's Daniel Puder, who's 23 years old, who's a great athlete, and Bob Holly, who's 41 years old. And did you see the physical difference between the two of them?
I actually did notice that, and I tried to fast forward through much of that because I had no desire to see it. But I rewound after Bob hit Al. But yes, I was looking at this old man next to this young killer athlete, and the old man was huge.
He was huge.
Yeah, and you're in your late 30s or whatever. Being that size at that age isn't,
Bob's 41.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, so what are you gonna, and not just Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon judges these guys, and Kevin Dunn, and everyone judges these guys based on their physique. But you know what? So do the fans.
Yeah. Well, they've been trained to.
That's right.
They've been trained to see...
they've been trained for 20-plus years, too, and that's what they've learned. Exactly.
Like anything else, gentlemen, follow the money.
Yeah.
Follow the money. Listen, Dave, I got a couple questions, okay? Bryan, you can chime in, too, but I'm going way back. In 87, after Crockett bought out Watts, he bought Florida from, I believe it was from Mike Graham at that point.
I don't know if they ever actually bought Florida. I don't know what the whole deal was. He definitely bought Watts, though.
Now, and this is when, after he had moved to Dallas and bought the jet planes, was there at any point in the spring, summer of 87 where you had a pretty good inkling that Crockett was in financial trouble or he was going to be in very shortly?
No, not in 87. In 87, I thought everything was great. And the other thing was we all thought Crockett had so much money that he could never, you know what I mean? Because the whole thing was in wrestling, everybody thought that, Big Jim, his father, had made so much money promoting not just wrestling but all kinds of sports, and they were ridiculous. The Crockett family, they had the baseball team and everything. Exactly. They were so wealthy, like they were. The thought process was they were far more wealthy than Vince McMahon, and that's why he could compete with Vince McMahon, was because even though he had the disadvantage of being out of Charlotte, where Vince had New York, which was a huge advantage, and also Vince was a better promoter, that Crockett, had so much money. So no, in 1987, I didn't see it. By January, I'm trying to remember when this was. I think it was around January of '88 when we kind of heard, Jim Crockett is losing money hand over fist, and he's about to go broke, and they're about to go under. And then they started the negotiations with Turner, which took pretty much the whole year of '88. And then, finally they made the deal.
So we had the cash flow problems even about a year before the deal was finalized. Just about.
The way I heard the story was that and this is so ridiculous, but this is how I heard the story. They were pretty much, just going along and spending all that money and, thinking that everything was great. And then one day the accountant goes, "Oh my God, we're like $5 million in debt." And then all of a sudden it was just like, "Oh my God, we're all going to go broke."
Hell, the first thing they did was fire that accountant.
What?
Everyone
blamed the accountant. But the thing is, like, to me, if I'm running a company, and I would know, like, on Tuesday that I spent too much money on Tuesday to make it up. That if I'm getting $20,000 houses and I'm spending $60,000, and I'm not getting $60,000 houses very many nights, I would know that there's like some real problems, and they didn't know it.
It ought to clue you in, exactly. So, fire the accountant should have been the first thing that was done.
Oh, but my God, they should have known. They didn't. The accountant shouldn't have to tell you. I know. If I'm Vince McMahon and I know what it costs to run the Garden, let's just say it costs, I don't know what it is. Let's say $200,000 to run the Garden, which probably costs less than that. But let's just say that today's gate was $180,000. Okay, let's just say. I know today that I didn't make enough money today. Now I'm obviously I'm not going to go out of business today. But if I was running a marginal operation and I needed to make that kind of money at the Garden to carry my business, I would know today that I have a problem. I wouldn't have to wait until 4 months from now when the accountant goes, oh, by the way, you've got a problem. But that's what happened.
You can't afford that jet fleet you just bought.
Yeah, well, Vince can, but Jim Crockett couldn't, and. They wasted a lot of money. The TV bills were incredible. I mean, I remember when they were, I remember the negotiations here because I was talking to the people who were negotiating them the day they were negotiating. And when they got like Channel 2 in San Francisco, and I think it was, it was either $2,500 or $3,000 a week. I forget the exact number. So that's, and they would only come here a couple times a year. And I mean, when they would come here, the gates weren't necessarily that big because they were never that powerful in the Bay Area. And, like, just that number alone is like, $3,000 a week, let's just say. And it's just like, that's a great deal for TV in San Francisco. And I guess it was. But it's like, but you can't make it back. So how great of a... And they were doing that, like, all over the country. And Vince, Vince was at the time, too.
Well, I have two other questions, but it sounds like you're going to go to commercial, and I'll let somebody else get on. But thank you for taking my call.
Okay, you're very welcome.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. We will be back with more right after this. We got Petey Williams and Chris Sabin in the ring for the X title. You're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Radio Network.
What if I told you you'd never...
Okay, welcome back to Wrestling Observer Live. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter, with Bryan Alvarez of Figure 4 Weekly. We're here every Sunday night, 8 to 10 Eastern Time, 5 to 7 Pacific Time, with the Wrestling Observer Live. And Bryan, Chris Sabin just powerbombed Petey Williams on the guardrail.
Oh, lovely.
And Petey Williams is fine. He's in the ring. I mean, this was actually like 2 minutes ago, and he's fine now. I mean, he certainly lived through it there. Boy, you should have seen, I was watching this, and I looked at the faces of the people in the crowd, and they had their mouths wide open, like, and I was thinking, like, why are you doing this? I think they were just like, whatever. Definitely a high-spot-orific match.
That's good.
And it looks like the people are having a really good time. This was supposed to be filled, there's a story here. This was supposed to be filled with military personnel, and I'm looking at the crowd, and maybe they are all military personnel, they're just not in uniform.
Yeah, weren't they going to bring in like 500 or something?
Yeah, and the place, they only had room for about 700. And the place is packed.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. We will go to, is it Jeff in Colonia, New Jersey?
John.
John. Sorry. What's going on, John?
First, I just want to note, you had that guy on about before talking about the Ring of Honor show.
Yes.
Just wanted to note something he probably forgot to mention. Jim, I think he understated how great Jim Cornette was at the show, too. I'd never seen Cornette live, and it was unbelievable how he got the whole crowd so into the match. It was really incredible seeing what he could do.
Well, you watch, those guys, Cornette and Bobby Heenan, I mean, those guys are masters of the craft of being managers. I mean, I remember, watching, when Jim Cornette was in there in the 80s, and it was, I mean, those guys were, there's nobody now. Of course, managers are a dying breed anyway, but there's, that's at their level. I mean, it's just, they're just natural. Heenan was great because he had all the bumps and things like that, but Cornette is a genius when it comes to working ringside. He really is.
Yeah, it was really incredible to watch. Anyway, you remember a few months back when Kensuke Sasuke and he lost the match to Taioke on All Japan that was number one contendership for the Triple Crown.
Right, in Nagoya, I think it was.
Yeah, before he went on to win the IWGP.
Right.
Do you think now New Japan made another folly? Because it looks like they just did the same thing again. Now, they had Tenzan. I know you probably know about this already.
Right. Tenzan got beat by Kawada, which surprised me. I thought that Tenzan was going to win that match.
Yeah, I did too also. Now, it looks like he's about to challenge Sasuke for the IWGP, and All Japan set up Sasuke versus Kawada would seem to indicate that Sasuke is going to drop it to Tenzan. So is it the same deal where a guy lost to the Triple Crown champion, now he's about to win the IWGP, it makes All Japan again look bigger than New Japan?
Yeah, and I'm surprised New Japan lets that happen, but there's much about New Japan's booking that surprises me.
And the other thing is, you don't think it can possibly be leading up to unification, do you? Because that's the speculation I saw. It seems a little unrealistic to me.
I actually thought that they were going to do something to where, I kind of thought that it was going to be, like Tenzan would win, and then he would lose to Kojima, and then he would beat Sasaki.
Yeah, that was what the theory seemed to be.
That's how I kind of was reading that, and then you would kind of be able to, like, finally give Kojima the big push that he's been maybe a year overdue for. But, yeah, that's not happening, obviously, because I've got to think that Tenzan's going to beat Kojima, and that would be the payback for him losing to Kawada.
Yeah.
And then probably I would expect beating Sasaki, although I don't know. I would think so. Sasaki's, aside from the Fujita match, Sasaki's done real well lately, and Tenzan has as well.
But the thing is, Tenzan now pretty much has to beat Sasuke, because if he doesn't, then Sasuke goes into a situation where he's facing Kawada as IWGP champion, because they set that up at the Sumo Hall.
Right. Yeah, and
it kind of gives
maybe they'll do a unification deal. Although I don't know. I expect Tenzan to win. Maybe then Sasaki beats Kawada, being that Kawada's due to lose, and then they can go in there and say, well, Tenzan actually beats Sasaki, so the IWGP champion will be better than the Triple Crown champion.
Yeah,
maybe that's how this turns out. I don't know.
Don't you think Kawada's title reign, it hasn't exactly set the world on fire, Don't you think
it couldn't, because All Japan is so down.
Yeah, but his reign, all of his reign, the thing that reminds me a lot is July 18th, that show, the Sumo Hall, where he went on last against, was it Takeo Omurai?
Oh, with the Omori match, on the Misawa-Kojima match show, where he was anticlimactic because Misawa's match got so much more heat, Yeah,
it just seems like they constantly booking him, he's anticlimactic with that. He's had things where he got overshadowed by Misawa and Muto teaming.
Well, part of that is because he hasn't wrestled Misawa.
Yeah,
if he wrestled Misawa, he wouldn't be overshadowed, but Misawa's on the shows, and Misawa is going to overshadow him just because he's a bigger star, and he was in Dream. The first time Misawa was back in All Japan, so it was going to be the big deal. And the last time, that was just a dream tag match. That tag match was, to me, just so much fun. It was old days wrestling, but just watching Hase and Sasaki as a team. Hiroshi Hase is one of these guys that I don't think I will ever tire of watching. He's got this magical knack of being able to make almost every match really good.
Yeah, Hase is definitely one of the all-time greats, I think.
Yeah, one of the best workers I've ever seen as far as being smooth in the ring and ability to carry people. Really just. I saw him with Heath Herring, my God, who was just so clueless, and some of those Russians and just all kinds of guys. Shoot fighters over the years and stuff. And it's not always a great match, but he carries it. Oh, Saban and Petey Williams, Bryan, are doing the Don Fry Takayama spot.
Really?
Yeah, they just did it. Yeah,
it
really
doesn't look quite
too.
as good, I suspect.
What?
Probably doesn't look quite as good.
The people were going crazy.
Oh, that's good.
So they're definitely they definitely worked on their match. Of course, those guys they started training together. So the 2-3 years ago, they both got. I got to say this: for 2-3 years in, those guys have really come a long way. Anything else?
Oh, I just want to say quickly, with Kawada now about to lose the title, do you think he'll retire in 2005?
No, because I think the company will, unless the company goes out of business. If the company goes out of business, but even nobody retires, and so I don't see him retiring. Although
maybe not retire, but take a break. I meant.
I think he'll take a break when he gets hurt again. That's usually what happens. I remember a couple of years ago. It was in 2001 when there was a lot of talk of Kawada retiring because he had so many injuries. But I think he's just he's taking his style where it's. He does those brutal matches where nobody sells, too much. They see how tough they are. Foley, when he worked with him, he's going boy, here it's the idea is to, what's the word? The idea is to make it look real. Make it look real without hurting ourselves. And there, it's like the idea is to hurt ourselves and not sell it. It's punishment we can take without selling it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Dave and Bryan, for...
Okay. Very welcome. We'll go to, is it Jim in Martinsburg? Jim.
Hey, Dave and Bryan, how y'all doing?
We're doing really good.
Got a question. You said DDP was wrestling tonight at the TNA pay-per-view.
Yeah, he beat Raven, yeah.
Well, I thought he was supposed to have a career-ending injury in the WWE.
In fact, does have one, yes. It's why, like we said, like nobody ever retires in wrestling. After 2 years, he missed it so much that he went against what is probably, the smart thing to do.
Oh, that's what I was wondering. Now, another thing, a while back on the internet, I saw on a wrestling site, I don't know if it was y'all's site or another one, that Dusty Rhodes sold the NWA belt on eBay. Is that true?
God, it sounds familiar. Is that true? I'm not positive about this.
It's like the Jack Briscoe belt before they got the big flare type, the gold belt.
Yeah. It might be a replica, because there's a lot of replicas made.
Oh,
if anyone knows, email us.
I didn't think he was the real one, but they made up that Dusty Rhodes was selling the NWA belt.
It might have been a replica, and it might have been just made. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that though.
Oh, let me ask you another thing. Back when they were first talking about the heel turn of Edge, they were talking about a whole new look for him, haircut and everything. What happened to that?
Hasn't had it yet.
Well, I heard that he.
I think that Edge, Edge was actually on this show a couple of years ago, and he made a remark that if you cut my hair, because it was one of those shows where we had all these women calling, which we only had that with Edge and Matt Hardy, right?
No, Jerry Lynn.
And Jerry Lynn.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, I think Jerry Lynn, it was just like one or two women. Those guys, it was like lots of women.
Yeah.
Okay. The Edge one I remember. I think Bret Hart too. But anyway, so Edge, but Edge said that like if he said something like if I cut my hair, I really wouldn't be that good looking. And when he said that, it was like when they asked him to cut his hair, I'm going like, and he publicly says, I'll do whatever they ask. I think he didn't really want to do it.
Yeah.
Because he didn't do it, and they wanted everyone cutting. They wanted everyone cutting their hair.
And what's funny is when he made that comment, and a few years later he was feuding with Kurt Angle for the hair match.
Right.
And they showed this photo on the screen of
Edge. The bald Edge.
Oh my God, it was terrifying.
Yeah, I remember that. It was terrifying to him.
Yes, he was.
I got another question about WWE storylines. Okay, basically, why was this Gene Snitsky, a relative unknown, brought in for this big storyline?
I wonder. I think that they were looking for a guy who had some size to whack Kane with a chair for the spot, and I don't know that the plan was that this guy was going to get over as a star, being that the very next Monday he was out there in training in the afternoon before he was actually in Louisville, before he was called on, and they had to go through to get him to the building on time to do a promo. So I think that what happened was he did the thing, and it became like this. Snitsky became almost this cult thing.
What do you mean almost?
Yeah, I guess he did. And so then they figured that they had to bring him back, and then he's just still there. And now, now he's a monster.
Oh, I know. He does plays a good role. That's the same thing with this Carlito Caribbean Way. At first, I didn't like him, his character, but kind of grows on me. I think
I like him.
It does grow on you.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a breath of fresh air to me.
He reminds you kind of like the old Razor Ramon.
Yeah, that was the idea. But I think he does it different enough to where I don't see him as a copy of Razor Ramon that much anymore. When he was doing the vignettes, I certainly did, but now I don't know. They need fresh faces, and he is one.
Let me ask you one about the ladies division. How come Molly Holly doesn't get more respect?
I think that the whole looks deal. As far as respect internally, everyone knows that she's the best worker of the women. She has that respect, but as far as the push goes, Trish is just more charismatic and better looking, and that's the answer.
Well, take it easy, guys.
Okay, we'll be back right after this. Live on the Sports Byline Radio Network. Okay, welcome back much. Wrestling Observer Live. Dave Meltzer, editor of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter. Real quick, Petey Williams beat Chris Sabin in the X Division match. They're doing the 6-man tag match. And I think it was T.O. the Midget just beat up the fake Vince McMahon. So that's what's going on TNA pay-per-view. Let's go to Bill in Pennsylvania. Bill, are you there?
Yes, I am. How you doing, Dave?
Doing really good.
Good to see you, or talk to you tonight. Listen, I'm a longtime fan, and while I wasn't driven away completely by some of the things WWE was doing with their product in the recent years, I'd say I don't look forward to the shows with quite the same enthusiasm. Actually, the Observer every week is something that I get excited about. You guys, you do a great job with that. And
thanks.
I was just wondering, with Pat Patterson gone now, if you knew who might be doing the finishes, the planning, particularly for Raw. A couple weeks back there when Edge speared Benoit out of the cage for the finish, that was reminiscent of something I'd seen years and years ago. In late April, I guess of '77, after Superstar Graham beat Bruno for the title, they went into a series of rematches there in the fall and winter, and they had 3 straight sellouts, probably 19,500 at the Spectrum in Philly. In their cage match, the blow-off for that, most of us were pretty well convinced Bruno was going to get the title back that night, we were figuring, because he had a pretty good track record in cage matches. And he kneed Graham, and Graham fell backwards through the door to the floor to get the win in that. And I was wondering if, that finish seemed familiar from, 25 years ago or a little bit more than that.
I don't know who would be doing, maybe Michael Hayes, Arn Anderson, like a lot of the agents set up the finishes, Vince sometimes. I'm not exactly sure.
I didn't know if you had recalled that finish.
I basically did. I remember it was very similar to the Jimmy Snuka Don Morocco cage match in Madison Square Garden.
Right, you're right.
I think Snuka did like a flying tackle or something, and Morocco flew out the door. Something to that. Yeah, I think it was similar to that. I think that's exactly what they were looking to do, and I was surprised because Edge was a heel to do that. Right. That's more of a way that a babyface, loses on a fluke, in a heartbreak, in a cage match, So anyway, we're totally out of time right now.
Well, thanks for taking the call.
Okay, thanks very much, Bill. Thanks, Bryan, for being here, and we will be back live in a couple of weeks. In 2 weeks, we're going to have Harley Race on as a guest, and in 3 weeks, we're going to have Terry Funk. So those of you interested in 70s wrestling and 80s wrestling, two of the greatest that there were from that era, and they're going to be on in 19th and the 26th. Anyway, that's about it. You're listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Radio Network.